Can anyone that speaks the language teach the language? Is it possible to teach a language we already know? This is Lucia J. Perez, TESOL Part 1, Arizona State University, Madrid, Spain, January 30th, 2018. The discussion of whether we can teach a language that we already know is a subject of many arguments when teaching language to others. We naturally teach language to our children. This occurs during the first stage of childhood development. Parents, close family members, friends, and caregivers are the core of language learning during the first steps of our development. Metalexical abilities is referred to the awareness children possess when learning their primary language. This is correlated to word meaning acquisition during our first stages of childhood development process when learning a native language. Can these same principles be applied to learning a second language? Here we're going to discuss Krashen's hypothesis of second language acquisition. Second language acquisition begins with one of the 6 main hypotheses, the acquisition learning hypothesis, which Krashen says that there are 2 ways of developing language ability acquisition, which is subconscious. The brain stores the information, and this happens through natural communication. And as a second language teacher, we must create an atmosphere of active communication where meaning and content becomes the center of learning, and students acquire the language instead of just learning it. The monitor hypothesis, which explains exactly that we must monitor structure, we should give exercises, and we should also concentrate not only in content but also in structure. This is a balance between accuracy and fluency. The natural order hypothesis says that we learn language in a predictable order, where there are certain grammatical structures that we acquire early and others we acquire later in the process. So as teachers, we should begin to introduce language concepts that are easy, and then while using scaffolding, we can build on more difficult things, more difficult structures. The input hypothesis, it says that language acquisition occurs when learners receive messages that they can understand. So we should always try to do I+1. Try to give learners just a little bit more than what their current level is, and we can do that through teacher talk, body language, scaffolding, and content deliver classes. The affective filter are the emotions, whether we feel insecure, whether we feel anxious, whether we're afraid of speaking a foreign language. So we have to make sure as teachers to give an atmosphere of comfort and safety, so people feel reassured when learning a new language. And also, last but not least, the reading hypothesis, which is this is very simple. The more you read, the more vocabulary you will gain. Our summary is that there are 2 ways of learning a language: naturally, which is our native one, and acquire through learning. And that Stephen Krashen developed a theory that explains 6 hypotheses surrounding the acquisition of another language. We can use techniques that we use during our early childhood and apply them to learning another language. And when learning a second language, we need a combination of meaning, content, and technique. And in order to teach a second language, Krashen's theory is really important. So can we teach a language that we already know? Yes and no. Native language can be taught by anyone. However, second languages need a more structured approach to language acquisition. Thank you very much. This is Lucia, and I am reporting from Madrid, Spain. You all have a great day.